In 2020, Casio released the GBD100, a smartwatch that we weren't particularly bothered about. Why? It's ugly. But clever Casio, 2 years later, brings out a watch with the same module, same smart functions, but looks like Casio of the old days. Let's get into it. Yes! Welcome to the Mad Watch Collector channel, the show that does watch reviews a little differently. Now, it's no secret I love a good Casio. I've got a lovely cabinet display in my study with about 40 of them in there. I'm old school, I'm an 80s kid. You were cool and geeky for wearing a Casio back then. And nowadays when I buy a new one, I usually buy it because it reminds me of the old days, you know? Retro. Digital watches that are so old, they've gone so far back, they're now cool. I absolutely love my 5610, the solar-powered atomic clock beauty that is a spitting image of the first G-Shock made back in 1983. I'm also a big lover of my 6900, a watch that was released in the early 90s. I've tried to embrace more modern Casio, buying two Casioks, the lovely camouflagey one, and this newly released metal Casio. And I've got to say I do love that one. Now is a pivotal point in my Casio collecting career because I've been tempted to buy a very modern G-Shock.
A smartwatch G-Shock.
A new G-Shock was released this year that has the looks of an original square G-Shock, but still its own thing and looking a bit modern. Also what pulled me in is that screen. And I really wanted to see this screen up close because it's a bit of Casio technology I've not seen before. So we are talking the GBD200. I've gone for the blue one. I really like the look of this colour. For anyone out there that just likes a Casio to give you the time, a timer, a stopwatch, and maybe an alarm or two,
Hold on to your butts.
are you modern G-Shock ready? Let's go! I'm not going to talk about the box this came in because it's exactly the same hexagonal tin that you get with every G-Shock. But look at it. And it's very hard not to look at that screen, isn't it? I'm already loving how clear that screen is when I move the watch from side to side at different angles. We'll talk about what that screen is later. I really do love the case of this G-Shock. It's not your regular stainless steel buttons that you have in your 5600s. They're resin rectangle beauties. And I love the little strip of white colour in all of them, bar one, which is the execute or run button. That's in orange. That's really cool. The sides of the case are awesome as well. The little grey parts just jutting out from the blue is actually the inner part of the case and helps to break up that thickness of the watch, which I think that does really well. As you can see, it does resemble an original square, a 5600, and that's what's going to pull a lot of you guys and girls in. But first impressions, I really like it. Quick spec check. Okay, we got a 45.5mm diameter case. It's 13.8mm thick, 48 lug to lug, which is really good. And we won't talk about the lug width.
We just put non-applicable.
As this is a G-Shock, you get 200 meters of water resistance. Pretty sure it's a mineral glass protecting the dial. All in all, a really tough built exterior designed to be functional and look pretty cool. The case back isn't too dissimilar to most G-Shocks. This watch does have Bluetooth and also something called an acceleration sensor. No, not something out of Star Trek. The acceleration sensor is what tracks the steps. All goes way above my head. Anyway, screws in each corner, case back in stainless steel, lovely jubbly. I've got to say it's a really good resin rubber strap. I love the slit holes. This means you're going to get a more comfortable fit. We've got a tang buckle. The tang part is stainless steel. I'm not 100% loving the way the blue resin goes into this plastic section and then into the case. As you can see, you can pull apart the strap and expose these type holes and gaps. For anyone with Tom Selleck wrists,
i.e. furry,
it could pull that hair quite a lot. Okay, let's talk about this screen, shall we? And this is what Casio calls MIP. MIP meaning memory in pixel. They have extremely low power consumption, have very high contrast values, and it's all about an individual pixel having a one bit of memory cell in it. But what MIP displays do really well is they avoid the parallax shadows. If you turn a conventional LCD screen to the side, you tend to lose the numbers. The contrast and crisp high definition readability is awesome. So on this home screen, we have have the big bold numerals in the middle showing us the time. Then at the bottom we have the day of the week. Bottom right we have a run in seconds. Top right we have the month and day. Top left we have the Bluetooth connect sign. A little speech bubble telling me that I've got notifications and the fact I've got daylight saving time on. Okay, operating this watch. Are you ready? This is not your typical 5610. There are so many things to this watch. But if you just want it to be a watch, it can just be a watch, okay? We'll start by talking about the top left pusher, which we'll call A. Well, this isn't just an adjust button. It's also a multiple display button, a forwards button,
And an up and downy.
pushing the A button once and you get your daily steps counter for every day of the week. The next display shows your monthly distance covered. And the last display, you can have dual time, which I think is really handy for when you're going abroad. Okay, so we're back in the home screen. Let's start pushing the B button, which is the mode. And the first one is workout, which you can connect to an app. You can program 20 different workouts at different times of the day and for a different duration.
Bugger that, Doc.
Anyway, moving on to something that we all know, the stopwatch. Top right button, or C, starts the stopwatch, but unfortunately it only goes up in seconds. Like most other G-Shocks and Casios, you can time to within a 10th or 100th of a second. So to be fair, when you're looking at the stopwatch on this, it is a little boring. Anyway, pushing B again, and we get our activity tracker. Moving swiftly along with the B button, we come to our notification screen. You can't scroll on these little icons, but it tells you all the new notifications you've got. The bottom right pusher, or D, is the back button, so the undo button, and we can go all the way back to the home screen. If you want to change the time, keep your finger on the A button and you get this settings screen come up, and you can change the home time, the world time, you can change the alarms, you can change the light time, either 1 second or 3. Also, this has an auto light, so when you lift up the watch to a certain angle, the backlight comes on, which is quite cool. This watch can vibrate for every notification you get and for every time you use the buttons, and also you got your beeping. I've got an issue with the sound. It's a slight uneasy feeling. First of all, the actual sound of it. Here's my 5610. Very quick and doo doo. I quite like the sound of the GBD. The beeps last a bit longer, but when you push down the button of the 5610, you get the beep straight away. With the GBD, the sound comes after you let go of the button. Is it just me, or does that not sit right with anyone else? Super! So you can connect this watch to your phone. There's an app called GShock Move, and you can set the time and all the other functions by using the phone. Connecting your phone is a little bit hit and miss. It took me about 10 minutes to connect these two together. When you tell the watch to do something, it's kind of slow. I don't think I'll have it connected for long. There are 2 major drawbacks with connecting the watch as well. You know, I said about all the notifications being clumped together. Well, unfortunately, you can't separate the notifications coming to you, meaning I get every single notification the phone gives me onto this watch, whether it's a missed call, text message, WhatsApp, Sky Sports News, Bitcoin down.
I've got an outstanding bill to pay.
So if you connect this watch up and you've got the sound on and the vibrations on, the amount of beeps I get per day is astronomical. Now with that comes the other issue, battery life. Casio say that this watch can go 2 years before you need to replace the battery, which is a bit rubbish. But wait, if you want to use this watch with the Bluetooth, the vibrations and the sounds, you'll be lucky if it lasts you 1 year. So if you do get this watch, my advice is to connect this up to your phone for a bit of fun, use it for a couple of days, but then turn off the Bluetooth and save that good old battery life. We haven't talked about the light yet, and this is superb, particularly on this amazing screen. It's got that lovely big button in the front of it, just like my 6900, 2 LED lights shining up from the bottom, and it looks absolutely magic. This watch definitely has the best screen by day, and you have to say it's the best screen at night time too.
Hello.
On my 6.5-inch wrist, and this looks great, doesn't it? I'm so glad I got the blue. Look how crisp that screen is. If you're going to take away anything from this review today, this is the best Casio display I have ever seen, up close and personal.
In sunlight, low light and high light.
And look at this, even underwater. Okay, so as this is a G-Shock and it can take a beating, it's going to become one of my work watches. I am a tennis coach. I love to play a bit of tennis. Contacted a good friend of mine, Sam, to give us a good hit on the court and really see if this can take a beating. Let's go.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, there you go. Woo! Over 9,000 steps and it hasn't even got to 11 o'clock yet.
Take two.
Let's see a little more originality, shall we? So there we go, the GBD 200. I've got to say I really like the watch. I love the colour. I think the resin strap is an upgrade from the 5610, no doubt. Guys, it's worth getting this watch just for the screen. It's just amazing. I'm not too fussed about the smartwatchy stuff. I don't like the notifications that I'm getting all the time. You know, when it comes to Casio watches, it's the time, it's the stopwatch, and maybe an alarm, but I don't need anything more. I'm not someone that wants to connect my watch to my phone, so all those bits and bobs are lost with me, to be honest. But like I said, it is definitely worth getting this watch, A, for the screen, and B, just because it looks cool. I mean, it looks retro modern, you know? Is that a thing? Retro modern? So do I think you should be embracing a modern G-Shock? I think you should. If for nothing else, that memory in pixel display. Now on Amazon, this watch is around 115 to 125 pounds. There's a black version, there's a yellowy green version. The other question is, does this mean the GBD 200 takes over the mantle of my favorite G-Shock of all time? Not a chance in hell. The 5610 is still my favourite G-Shock, but just imagine the GBD 200 solar powered. I know that's what a lot of people are waiting for before they pull the trigger on this watch. Can it be done with this module? But if Casio can do it, we might be seeing this reference for a long, long time to come. Here it is, my wife's first impressions of the GBD 200. Haha. I'm not sure about it. It looks like Optimus Prime's head. Hang on a minute, has she got a point? You can sort of see it, can't you? Especially in this blue version. I'd love to know your thoughts of this GBD 200. If there is a Casio you want me to review, stick it in the comments.
Like this, subscribe to this.
Become a member and have a great week. From me, the Mad Watch Collector, I'll see you in a tick, 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 a tick.
Second, every hour, every minute of the day. Always end up